Welcome everybody, this is Evelyn, and I have 2 of my 4-deck reads today, and then an abbreviated 7-deck read, so it's not 7 decks, it's actually 4 decks. And just updates on the energies. I'm a little bit loopy because I didn't sleep last night, but I'm good. Sometimes I like being a little bit loopy when I am allowing the energies to come in. We're going to take a few deep breaths. I did want to bring up Susie Byler. I always forget if she pronounces it Beeler or Byler. I'm thinking Byler because I always want to say Beeler. But she is, for those of you who don't know her, she channels Prime Creator on YouTube. So check her out. But on her last episode, she was talking about something that coincided with the breathing technique that I've been using the past couple weeks. And I've verbalized it to you guys as well. In breathing in, instead of grounding it down to the earth, I've been telling you to breathe in the air, the ether. So you're turning your air into ether and then breathing it back out up to source, which was very much resonating with me in conjunction with what Susie was getting from source to ground with source energy, not just from directly above you, but all around you, to ground source energy into your body. That some people will still need to ground from any place in your body. It doesn't have to be from a certain chakra, anywhere, and you might want to ask your body where it needs to ground, if it still needs to ground to the earth or not, but watch her video on that. But I just wanted to bring it up because it was resonating with me, very closely related to the guidance I've been getting myself. So we're going to take a few deep breaths and ground the way you would feel comfortable, where you feel you need grounding, or if you just want to breathe in the air and then send it back up to source as we go. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. Another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings out to you guys. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for being here and sharing your time with me. Do please remember, if you like the video, to like, share, and subscribe. It does help me. And let's get going here with the reads. So we're going to roll the die. First, I'm just going to show you the first 4-deck read. For those of you familiar, I'm just going to review real quickly the way I do this. We have the underlying energies over here. We have the journey of love at the top. I've been pulling 3 cards for each, and then the random cards that come out so I can count numbers. And also I use those cards in the reading as well. So the underlying energy, 3 cards, and then the pile that I count for Journey of Love, Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams. And they all have very different energies, which is why I like using them together as a contrast. I'm going to bring them up a little bit closer so you can see the pictures better. Okay. And let's go ahead and roll the die first too. Today's the 6th of November, I believe. Oh, I just reminded myself I have to send a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Judy. Happy birthday, Scorpios. This is for the Twin Flames for November 6th, 2022. Okay, we have Jupiter. All right, which is also Sagittarius. We have the number 5 coming up. That hasn't come up in a while, which is a lot of change. Sorry about the blur. So 5, which is change, freedom, expansion, excitement, but it's also the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy. And Taurus is in the North Node, but we're dealing with the eclipse coming up And I was just listening to, who was I listening to? We have Leo here too. Just talking about the eclipse, and the Taurus is the north node right now and Scorpio is in the south node, but the eclipses are kind of forcing Taurus to let go, which is hard for Taurus because it's a fixed sign, and then empowering Scorpio because Scorpio is very comfortable with deep transformation, which is what's going on during the eclipse. So it's kind of a little bit of a reversal right there for the moment with the eclipses. So we have Leo, Taurus, which are both fixed signs, and then this is Jupiter, but it also looks like the number 4 on this die. And we have the 4 and the 5, which is stability and freedom, and that constant switch back and forth that we do. 45 is also the purging card, the 5 of Cups. Someone needs to speak up because I'm losing my voice as I talked about the purging. Again, we have Leo as the inner child, being very sovereign within yourself as the inner child, speaking up for yourself. And then Jupiter, of course, is Sagittarius, which is immutable energy. So 2 fixed and immutable. And this read, let's see here. So today's the 6th, and I did these over the past few days. This first read was at 12:12 p.m. on the 3rd. The Journey of Love, the piles at the end of each deck were 4, 2, 2, and 25. But the first pile came out 1, 3, which added to 4. The second were 2. The second was 2. The third was 2. The fourth deck was 2 and 23, which is the King of Wands, ending up being 25, which is the Knight of Wands. Okay, and so we had overall we had 4, 2, 2, 25, which isn't going to come up in gematria because the number's too big. But I did look up 4, 2, 2, 2 because 2 was the first number that came out in the last deck, which was 25. So 4, 2, 2, 2, I just did the first entry, was the neural network of the 7 spirits, which are of God. I did do the second entry too. Second entry is Draco want to possess a redhead girl to have sex with him. So that was kind of weird. Also, the location Entre Rios in South America. It's very South America, Entre Rios. It's just above, whatchamacallit. That's at the south of South America. I'm just blanking on the name. Anyway, you can look it up, ENTRE and then Rios, RIOS. That was coming up. And it was coming up not regarding South America. Well, there's definitely an energy coming up around South America there. But it was also coming up as translating to the water door, which is like the portal, the vortex, because it's like a water door. And Niagara Falls was coming up, and Niagara Falls was coming up in my pictures today too, which you can check out Instagram. I posted a whole bunch of pictures between yesterday and today as well. And again, my pictures on Instagram are all about the messages that come out of them. And there's a lot of beautiful ones that come out from the clouds as well. Yeah. Okay. So 6. All right. So today's the 23 energy, right? 17 plus 6, 23. Yeah. 23 is the King of Wands. And the 6, of course, is the Lovers. That's the energy today. It is Sunday here on the East Coast of the United States. So at 12:12 was the Journey of Love. 12:14 was the Metatron deck. 12:18 was Nature's Whispers, and 12:20 was the Shaman Dreams. As 12:21, I started interpreting everything. So the message of the Emperor, and then 222 came up in gematria. The first entry was for 222 is Hitler. So there may be Hitler stuff coming up. Number 8 is Decode Decoder, and number 5 is Hidden Codes. So there's a lot about codes here. And obviously Hitler dealt with a lot of coding and secret code and all that kind of stuff. So that could be coming up. Hierophant came up, which is all about commitment and tradition, societal norms, marriage, religion, establishment. And then the 4 to 5 that I mentioned already, of 4 being structure and 5 being freedom, right? When we're in a very stable place, we seek freedom. And when we feel very free, we seek structure. And that back and forth dance. And that was coming up with the 222 in between them. The 222. So we'll see what comes up regarding anything regarding Hitler or just a dark leader. Germany could be coming up. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens as this goes. I forget what I read already because I never remember all this stuff. It's a lot of information. So the divine masculine magician comes together with the emperor, or with the empress's abundance and the emperor transitioning to stability. So perhaps he's been in a freedom place on the journey to the Knight of Wands, and that could be the King of Wands. The transition of the emperor on the journey to, so the number 2 is coming up as the space between the journey to 2 to 3 to 5, or the journey to the King of Wands to motivate the King of Wands to get going as the Knight of Wands, to get moving. The 2 of Cups journey, or the 2 of Cups to the Knight of Wands. The 2 of Cups journey to 3 to 5, to the Empress and to the Hierophant, which are both Taurus energies, and to Mother, to God. Or Emperor and Hierophant with 3, the Divine Feminine or High Priestess between them. So again, here's coming up the 1, 2, 3 energies of Source connecting to the masculine and the feminine in an interesting way. And again, remember that the 2 and the 4 are the space between the 3 and the 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5, or for freedom. So the underlying energy at 12:39, 12 is the Hanging Man, 39 is the Knight of Cups. And the 39 came up last night when I was watching a movie too, which is the Knight of Cups. And it was coming up in a positive way in the reads. And you can see the Page of Cups right here, actually, upright. And in the movie last night, the number of, I forget what the movie was. But it was a cow. They were in like a bull ring, and they were, I think it was Love is Blind or something like that. But the cow had a number on it. It was 39. And it was the cow, not a bull. So it was a very sweet calf, very innocent energy. So the underlying here of the 10, which is the high vibe destiny number, the card was 3, 2, 1. So there again is the word TO, because 2 is the space between. 3, 2, 1, and also 2 referencing the divine feminine. And the 55 of the shaman and red, the root chakra energies. The 45 of empowerment, and the 21 of the first breath. Again, perpetually being that student of life, always taking that first breath. Destined 3 to 1 leap, and it was coming up as 10 over 1, and then 3T was coming up as well, which can be toddler, 3 toddler, but it also can be 3 Tesla, or the strength of the Tesla. And then 01, it's coming up 3-1 leap, so 3 to 1 leap, and then the 10 over the 1, which is the high vibe destiny, 3T01. And 01 is that high vibe as well. It's the reflection of 10. And that would cancel the 10 out, which would leave it as just 1 and 3T. So 3T is coming up as 3-2, which is the journey, 3-2. 3 Tesla in the space between, or 3 top dogs, mother, father, child, or creation, through the truth of the shaman to feel safe, strong, and empowered. So again, that grounding to the earth. The shaman offering peace to angels calling, grounding the flyers in instant manifestation of the 60. And that was interesting too. I was listening to Elena this morning, Elena Denon, and she was talking about relating from a 6D place as opposed to a 3D place, right? Not wanting to be of the earth energy, wanting to be of the light energy, which is relating to this energy here, as I was just losing my voice again, right? But we're charged with not only grounding source energy into our bodies, but doing that to bring light down here, which was coming up from her video. So you might want to check out that video. But it's resonating with this information that's coming up here. So the shaman offering peace, and it's also coming together with Susie's information about Creator saying that a lot of us will now be just grounding source energy into our bodies as opposed to needing to ground ourselves to the earth. But you need to ask your body what it needs, because some of us still need to ground certain parts of our body. It does not need to be a specific chakra, a specific part of our body to the earth. But otherwise, just grounding source from not just above your head, but all around you to really embody that source energy. So again, through the shaman, 3 top dogs, mother, father, child, through the truth of the shaman, to feel safe, strong, and empowered. The shaman offering peace to the angels calling, grounding the flyers in instant 6D, number 11, manifestation, aligning with manifestation. Empowered by purging to complete the cycle, to come into the beginner's mind. Elena was also talking about a conversation she had with Anki. And so I would watch that message. It was a very loving message about, allowing that purge, because the sadness is going to lead you somewhere. The shaman offering peace to the angels calling, grounding the flyers in instant 6D manifestation. Empowered by purging to complete the cycle, to come into the beginner's mind, the first breath, the perpetual student of life as the divine feminine and divine masculine, and the whole and balanced, magnificent. So again, manifesting these things, not asking for them, but stating that you are these things. The affirmations that you are whole, you are balanced and magnificent, ageless, and Cryon comes up with some of these as well, healthy, abundant, and wise. And I wanted to bring up 2, because she was talking about the loneliness of, Elena was talking about the loneliness of, being a starseed and not being able to speak your truth to many people. And that can be a lonely place. And I was feeling the same way yesterday, which was very interesting. I really kind of was craving being able to talk to my twin, because there's nobody else I can truly talk about that to. And I was watching some marriage scenes yesterday, and it wasn't bothering me, but what did trigger me was the person who didn't have her parents with her at the wedding, because I remember before my father passed away in 2016, I really wanted my twin to meet my dad before he died. So I had a little bit of a purge around that yesterday, and it's 12:12 on the clock. So hanging out with 2 hanging men with 12:12, being wise, the beginner's mind, always starting again with that first breath, the perpetual student of life, as the divine masculine and divine feminine are whole and balanced, magnificent, ageless, healthy, abundant, and wise. High vibe Excalibur in the purge of the world, the sword and the stone, the word and the tone. And then ORD means origins of 1, which then goes from stone to tone to 1. The Q also, which is the circle of the feminine, and the line of the masculine, of course, the sperm and the seed, or the ovary. And it's also the quantum leap between dimensions. The 21 came up here, again being whole, the world coming full circle, the divine feminine in 5D, being completely naked for the world to see. And it was coming up regarding some flame pics I had taken the day before, that I posted on my Instagram, some really cool shapes, like I have a rose. I might post that rose on this video today. There was a rose, but there was also a picture of the divine masculine, divine feminine as Mary and Jesus in the flame, that the flame looked like a Christmas light bulb at the same time. It was a really cool picture. It was really weird. I took the pictures because the flame looked really odd. It was like a half flame, and it looked like it had a ball in it. So I started taking some pictures, and I got some really cool pictures there. So it looked like, I wrote it down here, that it looked like a cannoli tunnel, which is like the toroidal field. And I was doing a little doodle here of what I was getting. I don't know if you can see it very well because it's very small here, but I was doing this little doodle there of the toroidal field that looked like a cannoli tunnel. Okay, and then the dark in the space between, except the middle needle. And it was like threading a needle through the toroidal field, right? Like from the apple side, as opposed to the donut side from the top. So from the apple side and seeing the core in the middle, which is the needle being threaded through the tunnel at the 0 point in the middle, as the light sucks the dark out. And it was like coming up like poop, you know, getting the poop out of it. The light sucks the dark out, like pooping it out. And the egg forms. And then I was getting an egg form from that flame that day as well, which is A-OK. Hiding in the blue ray, the butterfly's throne. And by the way, avatar, tar means throne. And Ava is grandmother. So it's like the ancient feminine one on their throne. The avatar, the butterfly's throne. The avatar, the new wings, right? Because it's the caterpillar to the butterfly. So hiding in the blue ray, the butterfly's throne. You know, before they fly, because they don't need a throne once they fly. So 11 comes up with the eruption of light, and the 28 of the twin flames, the sacred convergence of the twin flames. The 11th and the 28th were coming up, and somebody else mentioned the 28th coming up too. But I'm getting that for both November and December 28th are significant. Thanksgiving is on the 24th, I believe. And the 9/11 memorial was coming up here as that sacred convergence of the twin flames. It's that picture that looks like an ice pop coming out of the 9/11 memorial, where the Pleiadians like project themselves onto a stage there. And then the 49 of the woman of light and getting their wish. The 61 of that risk card, taking a risk to love. And the 58 of the rest of the Four of Swords, but it's also the 5D connection of the twin flames, seeing the beauty. 17, her grace. And then the 15 of the mother praise, the 42 of the blood dance, the 2 of cups, and the 11 again of alignment, that 60 manifestation, to get the heart going. So the 51 king of swords, twin flame, can dream. The 63 of the light field, which, you know, sitting in the middle of a light field on a bridge is, you know, it's very exposed. You know, if you have all this like crazy energy coming in at you, that's the energy they want you to feel in that, the suffering and silence, not having any protection out in the middle of the bridge. And the 34 of the energetic exchange, that back and forth of the arrows of love, becoming the 56 of the 2 of swords in your knowing, right, without getting triggered, keeping your energy clear. And then the next, that card is the 2 of swords, is that card that looks like Paul and Linda McCartney walking across a record. So they're literally walking across the cyclone and the vortex, not being affected by either one. So not just feeling safe in the vortex, but also feeling safe in the chaos. At 1252, which is the hanging man, actually it's 57, which is the 3 of swords. The underlying energy is the 9 of the heart of God and the portal energy. So we talked about that, the water door coming up with Entre Rios. The portal and the 26 of the Page of Wands, who's the guardian of the soul family, the lion's heart. The 68 of the Page of Pentacles, who is that perpetual student, to drop into your heart regarding that. The 6 of the lovers, sliding along, gliding along. The angel of Jupiter, awaken to the 16 of the sudden heart of the moment, the sudden events, the epiphanies, the sexual exchange, to the 31 of the 5 of Wands and the Christ flame of sacrifice that rears its ugly head. Just return to the vortex, the center, the heart again. destined 3 to 1 jump in that quantum leap. And then again, that energy of 10, 3T, and then 01 came up, where 10 and 01 are reflecting each other on either side, like the bookends, and Patty Duke's coming up. And the 3T in between are the toddler who's in the middle, or 3 Tesla, which is a lot of power. At 3 Tesla would be a measurement of an MRI. The common thread is the child here, the creation, the project in common, where everyone in the world has the child in common, the common goal, 2 or more with the same vision. In high vibe vortex, the doorway, in a leap of faith. At 111, which is the magician and justice, where the first card here is the 24 of the Queen of Wands, which is also Omega, or the symbol for enlightenment, where source Om, remember Omega is Om, and Ego, which is feminine ego, crowning herself. The source Om meets the divine feminine ego, or crown. The space between the third eye and the crown, the 2 and the 4 worlds. 3, 2, 1, jump, and then 2 was coming up with 6 between the 2 and the 4, which is the love family community, and then the 2 and the 4 were both in the middle, which is the 2 and the 6 were both in the middle, which is 26 again of the Page of Wands, the lion's heart. The 14 of the fallen angel, that temperance card of patience and balance and taking one step at a time for that higher love, of compassion, of patience and being light as a feather. The 46 of the 6 of cups, just for a moment, joy, being childlike with your arms up in the air and allowing that light to come directly into your heart. Disco is coming up this day as well, and so therefore John Travolta was coming up, and I just noticed in the emojis there's like a John Travolta disco pose in there, which I had never noticed before, and I noticed that today. So there's definitely something about John Travolta or disco coming up. Maybe it's coming back, I don't know. There were 4 cards here, and of course 4 is stability. It's the Emperor as well, structure, building, survival, as opposed to manifesting dreams on an 8 level. The 50 of the 10 of cups of the emotional happy family, or emotional fulfillment, or ending a cycle, an emotional cycle, a happy ending. And this is like Jesus wearing a cloak, really contemplating to himself. The 4, 36, and 54 of the Emperor, Atlas, and the Page of Swords with directions. The Emperor, Atlas, and the Page of Swords. Page of Swords also has been coming up as the Universal Mercury, or Gabriel. And Gabriel comes up again in this read, so pay attention to that. So the Emperor is very simple. The Atlas energy is coming up as Cosmic Atlas, and the 54 of the Page of Swords is coming up as the Earth. And this is reminding me to tell you that Mother Nature isn't just the Earth, it's the entire atmosphere, right? It's like the Holy Spirit with Earth. It's all part of the same thing. That's coming up again. 10-4 was coming up this morning as well, which is also my other friend's birthday. So friends' birthdays may be coming up. At 121 is the 1 of the Magician. 21 is the world again of completion, where the family is cloaked here. The Emperor is simple. Atlas is the cosmic butterfly, and the Page of Swords, Mercury, the earth angel, preparing the field. And the neutral gamma ray was coming up here, N7, which is like Christ gamma wave. The 4 plus the 36 is 40, which is the Page of Cups, which Enki, that's one of the numbers he's known by, is the 40. The Page of Cups, the innocent, sweet heart. And Enki is En for me is code Jesus, and Ki is key, like a key. So the key of Jesus, the Jesus key, as the Page of Swords, Mercury, is the feminine, the Mary Magdalene key. And then Enki was coming up, and the reflection of that word, Enki, and again referencing the reflection of him and his brother as Enlil, one equal and congruent to Christ, where 1 is less than 1, but 1 is also greater than 1 in creation and anti-creation, congruent and equal to 1. Jesus key and the chakra system greater than 1, reflecting Mary Magdalene. The 2 eggs cracked open from opposite perspectives, again Patty Duke, or the bookends. The 40 of the Page of Cups and the Page of Swords, Mercury, both associated with Enki, 1 equal and congruent to neutral energy of 1. The 40 of the Page of Cups, the sweetheart, the 54 of the Page of Swords, Mercury, or the breath of ether, where the Page of Pentacles is the beginner's heart of the student, and the Page of Wands is the lion's heart. The Emperor with the weight of the world must drop that weight to go into his heart to get a message from the earth angel. 2 sweethearts, as in the 6 of Cups, the 2 sweethearts, and a message from Source to blanket the earth. And again, remembering that I just told you that Earth isn't just the planet Earth, it's all of the ethers, which is the space between, which is love. At 137, the Magician and 37, remember 37's been coming up as 3 keys because the 7 is like a key. It's also like a gamma ray because the symbol for gamma is the F is digamma, 2 gamma rays, but it originated with the opposite direction as a 7 that looks more like a boomerang. So 37 is literally 3 gamma rays or 3 keys of unconditional love, which also comes up in alchemy, right? The last 3 keys. When you get to Capricorn, you've graduated, but you have to like take the test, the 3 keys, before you actually become the alchemist. The underlying energy, and here 3T is coming up as 3 key, or the 37. 3T is also another way of saying 37. Because 3 is the Christ number, right? And the Trinity energy, and then the T is the top dog. So it's that Christ God energy. So the underlying energy of the 55 is the truth. Sorry, I didn't take the blurriness away. The 55 is the truth, Excalibur, the red root shaman here, and the divine masculine magician of 37, or 3T, or Christ and God. The 37, or 3 gamma rays, or 3 keys, what does that equal? 3 rays equals the star, which equals the hex, okay, which equals the reflection of another hex. Again, the digamma, the bookends are coming up here again. The double diamond twin flame star of Bethlehem, which translates to the house of God, L'Chaim, where this is coming up here now as the twin flame, right, where there's 3 keys. This is the digamma, and this is the original key. Okay, so the twin flames and the source key. And the monk key, right? The key of 2 gamma rays facing the other direction. 2 neutral, but the 3rd causes the directional flow, like in the toroidal field. It's straight up and down like the star. But when the thorn is in your side, it creates direction. It's the same kind of thing here. Source puts a thorn in your side to create direction, not just straight up and down. The 3rd key, the thorn in your side, the sphere with 2 rays facing each other. Remember the sphere, or the moon cut in half, are the 2 ends of the 8, where the hourglass is the middle of the infinity that the twins share, whereas the half of the moon is each their independent selves, which added together equals the infinity symbol. So the sphere, 2 rays facing each other, and the 3rd that breaks their way in, like the Q of the quantum leap, or the sperm getting into the egg. The pi, which is the moon in a half, right? 2 halves of the purple moon, which moon, remember, is MO, is the O of the human embodiment of Source, Mary Magdalene, and the ON is the human embodiment of Source of Jesus, Mary Magdalene and Jesus, and the 3rd to trigger movement or creation, and it was 144 at that moment. That was the only word on that line. So that was pretty cool. It's 12:28 on the clock now. This one's 34:40. It was just 34:39 actually. which is that energetic exchange with the Knight of Cups, and then the Hanging Man being present in the moment. So the Shaman Grounder for support, and the Angel Flyer who calls. The 55 of the Shaman and the 11 of the Flyer. The 55 being a 2D energy and 11 being a 6D energy. 2D being very much of the earth, very simple. The Emperor being very simple is coming up here as the Shaman. And the 6D being, of course, this more psychic person dealing with those etheric energies. The 2D truth of the basic survival, and the 6D instant manifestation from 55 to 11. 2D 55 to the 44 3D height, and 55 is really like the beginning of 3D, and 44 is the end of 4D. It's like becoming that social worker, right? Giving to others without expecting anything in return, really, because social workers don't make much money. It's that same energy of getting to that place in the 3D to then go into the 4D. And the 4D being the 33 of the Christ vibration, the 4D bridge to the other side, to the 22 station, where 5D you can jump off to anywhere, it's the platform, and then the 60, which is instant manifestation. The 31 of the chaos of the 5 of Wands, and through that chaos of calling in the light, to see the shadow behind you, to accept it too, in facing your fears of too much light or exposure, to see the dragon sun who's got a fire in their belly, the pyramid or pyramid, the fire in their belly with triangles or triangles and change. The masculine is the triangle, the feminine is the shape or the circle. She with circles to shape and share. She holds the light and dark, a more neutral place, the chaos of life, the orange sun, and control of death or the purple moon. The orange orangutan, the forest man with ego, and the rainbow bridge of the MO of the moon of Mary Magdalene, the ON of on Jesus. The portal to the other side is to accept all of yourself, the masculine and feminine, the light and the dark, all which flip from the other's perspective. As the shaman and angels get ready to bring it on, the dragon's breath, the ether Mercury through Eden, the vapor or the breath that becomes the divine masculine and feminine, coming into duality on earth, breathing in then all 4 elements. 1 to 1 to 2 to 4. For all. So it's coming up 1 to 1, 4 2, 4 4, for all, which then comes up as the 8 or the infinity. 1 2 4 8, which is the exponential as opposed to adding, right? 2 4 and then 8, becoming exponentially more. 2, my daughter was just bringing that up too, wanting more, to be more. The 2 cards, again, of the divine feminine high priestess, and then the 29 and the 35 cards, the Mother Blue Madonna aligned with Sirius, which was in my moon pictures that I posted last night. Sirius was very bright. Holding space, or that circle of the feminine, faces the wounded warrior with the Kundalini sword rising through the roof on the bridge, accepting the change, the triangle of the masculine, in the circle of trust, where trust is change, and the circle spirals to infinitum, allowing the twists and turns, trying new angles. So before I forget, I'm stopping because the Kundalini, when it came up, they're showing me now, and I'll show you a picture of what I drew on the next page when I get there. But the sword is coming up as the plugged apple, right? So a star isn't plugged. It streaks up and it streaks down, right? The vertical pillar and the horizontal pillar, as far as, the horizon line can go, or to infinity and beyond, But here it's coming up as the apple. We talk about the toroidal field as the apple, but the apple's plugged at the bottom so that all the energy shoots upward. And so if you look at the star in the toroidal field, when you plug the apple, it becomes the handle of the sword, and the sword extends upward to source. the mother and son, or Jesus and Mary Magdalene, the son and the daughter, the sun and the moon, right? The rays of the sun are coming up as the sun of the central sun, the moon coming up as the core of the earth, that's all of Mother Nature, who are the son and the daughter of the mother and father, the Christ Sophia, or the creator, source of all that is. The star and a satellite to balance the end holders, like the bookends for mother and father, creating a fifth wheel at 203, which is 5. The 2 of the Divine Feminine, the 3 of the Empress, or abundance, or the third wheel now becomes the fifth wheel. So we've now just raised it to the nth degree, right? Because 5 is perpetual change. And it's that they're relating it like changing from, I'm blanking out on the word. So Mercury is Virgo and Gemini, but it's exalted. That's what I'm looking for. It's exalted in another sign. So here 5 is the exaltation of that third wheel, becoming the fifth wheel. And then as I turned the page, I was guided to write down, it was 204, again, the 2 numbers that are spaced between, the 1, 2, 3, 4, number 5. So I brought back the number from the beginning, which was 4, 2, 2, 2 in the middle, and then 5 on the other side. One side is freedom, one side is structure, and the 2, 2, 2, or that Hitler energy, and I keep saying hit her, that energy in the middle, which 2, 2, 2 is also 6. So there's that spiral again of 4 to 6 and then coming back down to 5. And remember that Hitler is also it's still 6 of family, right? The devil side of family, but it's still the dark side of family, the 6, the shadow side. Remember, because it's all God's children kind of energy there. At 205, which is the High Priestess and the Hierophant with space between, and the High Priestess would be alternative belief systems, and the Hierophant would be more traditional belief systems, and the 2 and the 5 also directly reflect each other in block written style with the space between. The underlying energy of the Metatron deck was the 54 of the Page of Swords and the castle in the sky. That energy of Mercury again. 2, the King of Cups, 37, the 3 keys, and the 38, which is the 3 eighths, which become the union of the infinity symbol, the Queen of Cups. The sun needing to look up and let go of drama, and the daughter who powers up the light body for weeping pink willows in order to reflect each other. The double diamond star coming up again, and the 41, remember the double diamond star, the Star of Bethlehem is that energy of like 2 novas at the same time becoming that supernova in the middle. So the twin flames each being a nova, their own star, and then coming together in that infinity, joining them both, becomes that Star of Bethlehem, the huge supernova. The double diamond star of the 41 Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail, the supernova, as above so below at the same time. The 7, which is water in the Chariot, but it's also the key to your emotional well-being. And there's the well, the water well. Icosa, Hedron, is in this picture. I matter, ivy, which is the vine. I am matter, so I need water. And to use the vine. Perhaps turning water into wine. But why? They were guiding me to do that. So, and again, you exist as a vine that keeps growing and spiraling. The dolphin jumping and leaping in loops to go forward as the one, the masculine, the magician, the yellow bee, the bumblebee, and their honey, finding the confidence to pollinate buttercup with red or blushing to create orange in the sacral between the yellow and the red. The heart water, or the tears, flowing through the yellow and red, making all of it orange instead. And again, there's that energy regarding Vogel crystals as well. He was able to prove if he changed the energy of the one droplet, it would change all of the rest of the droplets to the more positive side automatically, lessening the root polarity, and the angels bringing the violet down to indigo to chill out a bit, to sit in their blue Madonna, not a black and white thing. The mother-daughter in blue and the father-son in rainbow, or mother and her inner son, father with his inner daughter, or the fire dragon son with his sun worshippers, and the mother going within to meditate and awaken within. The 36 of Atlas, vulnerable to the energetic exchange or the arrows of love, or just a lot of energy back and forth regarding communication or travel, with beautiful rose on higher ground, with sudden inner truth. And remember, rose is having risen already. The beautiful rose on higher ground with sudden inner truths of the fairy realm at 246 or 246, which is 2 is 6, pick up sticks, but 246 is 8, lay them straight. Okay, so here's the masculine energy saying she has the inner truth of the fairy realm, which I don't understand. And then here is the underlying energy of the 39, Knight of Cups, coming up again, of wanting to be love, of embodying that energy of being love, the perpetual student of love, and the movement of the Queen of Cups in a clear endeavor to seek beauty within. Hercules, Hercules, her harvest, as the Queen of Swords, instantly manifests dear one's attention. The 42 of the Two of Cups, let love be your beacon and blush, be lighter. The 37 of the King of Cups, of the Three Keys, and the ideal course of action, and the 49 of having your wish come true, or perhaps getting your way, self-satisfaction, to heighten your vitality. As the Queen of Cups shares her harvest with the King of Cups, or Three Keys, to heighten your vitality and color your world. With the 28 of the bountiful harvest of the twin flames, for the 23 of that 5 and the King of Wands who is worth it, the 22 leap of faith, and the 12 to expand the creative bridge, and the 45 to purge, to empower, and be unafraid, right? There's always a reset after you cry or you purge, bringing you back to a place of complete balance where you're no longer afraid. The one of the magician, the first card out here, again, the energy of the one, because the first card was 9. The 1 and the 9 are the strongest numbers, right, of ending and beginning. The masculine 1 and the 9 of the all. Remember, the Empress is the one of the people within. He is the one of the people from without. So that's representing him without and her within, being the Hermit. The perfect setting of the 35, the Wounded Warrior, 9 of Wands, and the culmination of their vision, no longer needing to be on the Wounded Warrior's path, now on the Fool's journey, with an open heart and a leap of faith, having full trust in your own knowing. The 24 of Omega and the Queen of Wands, to be your best self always as the wild child. The Hermit painting a pretty picture for the Wounded Warrior who's needing a new vision, with help of the Queen of Wands, being their best self always. And again, this could be coming up as a child. The Mermaid and the Seahorse, or the Maiden of the Sea and Pegasus, partnering up in the water under the dragon sun, or solar flares or solar panels, as the 9 of Cups Hermit and the 9 of Wands Queen of Wands, the Hermit's self-satisfied, teaching the Queen of Wands how to surrender. So, and again, of course, the partner with Pegasus is Andromeda. They're attached by one star. And I was getting this energy of that star dying, because then there'll be space between, and I'll show you the picture of that in a second. So then 2 cards came up with the 5 and 32. The 5 of the Hierophant, freedom, change, and expansion. The 32, which reduces to 5 also, which is the 6 of Wands of the journeyman coming in with the good news at the end of the war. The change of path, cleaning out the old, to trust your own understanding. The freedom train, removing the blindfold to see more light. Instead of the wounded warrior allowing his bandage around his forehead to fall over his eyes. No longer blind justice of not knowing or pretending not to know. We're at the freedom train now of the fool's journey, removing the blindfold to see more light. At 312, which is the Empress and the 12 of the Hanging Man, the underlying energies of the 31 and the 24. 31 is the 5 of Wands, end of chaos. The 24 of enlightenment, of Omega. And the fire energy of the Queen of Wands. And that number 31 was coming up as well at 631, which is the, 631 is the time my daughter was born. That was coming up today, that day when I was doing this. So in the hand is the universe as your partner. The galactic mushroom is the divine matrix. Remember, matrix has 2 ways of mother in there. It has Ma, it has the matra is the mother, but trix is also a feminine suffix. So we have the divine mother here, which is the divine matrix or the field along with the earth, right? Because the Empress is the one of the people from within. The Father is the one of the people from without. So she is the mother of all. She is the field and the planets. The Father is the one on the outside, right? Like the Godhead speaking to the people. The Father gate, the cave bridge with 2 gates, the 2D 55, or the end of the 2D to 3D 55, caveman, becoming a human, becoming seated by Enki, and then the 37 of the King of Cups and the 3 keys of the alchemist, and the magician's sword came a long way, baby, with confidence here. So does Pegasus let go of Andromeda because the star dies? As Orion faces their dragon, and I found the site too, which shows the dragon, and it has to do with Revelations and the Bible. So Orion faces their dragon as the twin flames are on the shoulders of Orion facing each other to allow space. And remember, the space between came up in that card I showed you the other day, where the hourglass, which is the middle of the infinity symbol, which is the joined part of the twins, becomes the open flags becoming sovereign, each with space between, which is when the star dies in between Andromeda and Pegasus. They no longer need to be joined by a star, especially if that's a false light couple. So 316 is the Empress and the 16 of the Tower. In your magic. And the 316 or 37 again, which is the key, 37, is the Empress's Tower, where 55 equals 1, but so does 37 1, or the 3 keys. And the 55, which come out to 10, which is destiny, the sword and the stone, and cutting a hole to leave the cave, splitting the stone and creating a bridge so they can go to their separate corners and purge, and sew the pages back together again, and that can reference the children. To corset or bind, articulate, to be more flexible, something that can open and close, repairing the veil with forgiveness in the perfect storm of 44, which is also the 52 Queen of Swords, the Lady of Light or Lady Liberty, along with Hercules, her harvest. The raven, peacock, eagle here, which was really funny because I was thinking the Eagles, but it was actually the Phillies in the World Series, right? The raven, peacock, eagle's perch, but the games were at the Eagles' perch, right in Philadelphia, for the World Series. The World Series Eagles and the Astros out in space, who I guess won, the ravenous show-offs on the eagle's perch, whipping up a vortex and the courage to step into life. The 51 of the King of Swords on the bridge with stars in the sky, the stars or the saint, reflection of Ra, Re, Enki. Okay? The Sophia in the sky. Sky is Sophia's KY. The energy of the 0 point field. And Greece is coming up in the message from the second read too. So this is coming up as the Sophia KY, is the grease that oils the wheel. The energy of the 0 point field. Remember, Sophia is the field. Sophia's KY energy of the 0 point field. And the day I wrote this was game 5 today, with the King of Swords with an open contract for 7 games. And that, I think at the same time, my daughter told me that the Eagles had won 7 games or something like that. So 7 was really coming up here as the key, the sacred contract to complete and take first break of the beginner's mind, the perpetual student. And it's been 7 years since I met my twins, so it's since 2015. So there's very significant energy there going from the 7 to the 8. Because 7 to 8 is the end of the deck. So the 1 here, the first card here is the 60 of the 6 of Swords and Peace, being the totem of the Tyon, the Tiger Lioness, 6 of the Lovers, but 6 is also the G of the Spiral and that God energy of the Golden Gate, as the Watchers bridging within. The 5544, which is also a number of mine, besides the 3344, which 334, I always do my monthly numbers. Like at the top of the page, I'll do my yearly number, my monthly number, and my day number. And my 5544 is another one of my numbers, but now my year is 33 and my month is 44, so it's literally coming up as my business number, Twin Flames 3344. So there is a resonance here with the King of Cups, or the 37, 3 keys, and the 45 of the stability and freedom, and dancing between those, purging between the 2 and 3D of the 55 and 44, the King of Swords moving to completion, or traveling the world, or with Cancer and Pisces finding peace, as the totem watchers, piggybacked, all in one color of the Tiger Lioness. I digress, as one. The Woodwives adapting with space between to end the pain, or a painful ending, or bliss coming in, with the pain leaving you. The 23 of the King of Wands with Fortune's wheel in their favor, and preparations complete in the underlying energies of nature. Ready to dive deep to build a new bridge, Andromeda and Pegasus meet Tyon to learn to give space for the wheel to turn, right? The wheel can't turn unless there's space between, with the King of Wands. With 2 cards here, 61 and 6, which is the risk card of 61, and the 6 of the Lovers, or love, family, community, taking risk to love the whale in the bubble, and the whale card with the bubble is that energy of the water vortex. The whale in the bubble singing the blues of the cosmic divine feminine womb. Their etheric portal is always open. The 23 cards coming up here of the King of Wands with the divine feminine and the King of Wands moving, or the 25 energy, at 341, which is similar to pi, but not. The 3 of the Empress, the 41 of the Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail, which is the Holy Grail is also the hole at the Y in the road of God's rail, the vortex. The 1 of the Divine Masculine here, the first card was 1, the Divine Masculine, and the tidy house, or running a tight ship. The 53 of the Knight of Swords, the Curious Stranger, adding sparks to the bathtub. The 39 Knight of Cups, or the magic of the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Cups, between the 1 and the 9, or the 1 and the all, between the selfish and the selfless, between the airy Magdalene and the watery hermit who balances well on one foot. where at the very same moment he dips his laser fingers, she dips her green toes in the water, where his spring bubbles up through her bathtub, as I noticed a needle on the ground in the front of the Knight of Swords card, which I never noticed before. And again, there's the energy of the needle sewing through the vortex. The 17 of the eye of the needle. This card also has needles all over it. And this was separate from the card I saw a needle in. The 17 of dreams coming true in the eye of the needle, representing the divine masculine's channeled eye, that more selfish view, and streaming intention in dream time, forcing his intent to the 43, which is the coming together, perhaps of the Emperor and the Empress, in the overflow of the Taj Mahal. And that can represent Morocco as well as the Garden of Eden, which represents vapor, the breath of the masculine and feminine on earth. The Taj Mahal and the divine feminine's beloved's radical acceptance of the heart on fire. So the heart on fire can reference the pyramid, the fire in the belly that is now risen up to the heart as the solar plexus and the heart chakras merge together. The 10 of the high vibe destiny of the deep diver to jump right in as the 54 page of swords, or Mercury or Gabriel, in the crossing, the initiation, the meeting where the salt meets the fresh, or salty meets the fresh, the bottom of the ocean and the top of the river's current all at the same time, or coming to the waterfall, where one dives and the other falls. The diver and the drifter. At 351, the Empress and the King of Swords, destined to be lighter, patient. The 25 of 2 to 5, ending up the Knight of Wands in the Garden of Venus, with flowers bridging, and 47 of the 4 to 7, the sweet spot of the heart to the crown, the sky bridge between towers of fire and desert, and stone between the quarter or halftime and the sweet spot of the heart to crown, bringing it home. In the astro realms, in the energetic exchange of the king of the hill with the lay of the land, the mountain between them is their ivory towers, or ego. The 26 of the page of wands and their lion's heart, inspired to gather the community, or very much being in that Leo energy right now of sovereignty and being the inner child as well, inspired to gather the community with the 52 Queen of Swords straddling worlds, or Lady Liberty, and the 40 of the Page of Cups, where Enki has come in to talk to Elena Denon. The Page of Cups in the think tank of the 26 Page of Wands and the 40, which is a number associated with Enki. And I actually posted a picture on Instagram that looked like Enlil and the reptilian that she talked about. So I posted that, but it's also coming up as Elena and the reptilian, because actually I think it looks more like Elena than Enki or Enlil. So the 40 of the Page of Cups, or Enki, in a think tank with the Page of Wands, the lion's heart, or the divine feminine's heart, and the 40 of the sweetheart, bringing the 52 Queen of Swords up to the 66 Queen of Pentacles, the Golden Gate, right? Raising them up to, right, she went up to the 6D for this meeting, the Queen of Pentacles and the 18 of the eyes of the eagle with love of the crowd, rising above the fray with an open eye wide open to 0 point field, and again the energy of the mother, the 20 of justice, and it was this day, I wrote this as well, 20, the wake-up call to happy days and the feast of plenty, and sharing the stone between two swords, the 57 of the 3 of swords, unmarked trail of revelation through the maze or amazing grace, and the tightening of screws to bring back together with the stone coal between. Both sides pressuring the coal, or the two bookends, to become a diamond in the space between. And again, that's the referencing of a star dying, because it's becoming the diamond light. And then there's no shared star anymore. It becomes space between. And suddenly the empty wall, and I was just reading the Emperor and T4, as we were just talking about 3T, now T4 just comes up. And 3T was coming up as the Christ top dog, and T4 is coming up as the top dog to the 4. And I'm getting the fourth eye, right? The third eye and the fourth eye, which no one really talks about. The third eye is more like connected to the pineal gland, but the fourth eye is connected to the, I want to say connected to the tailbone, right? It's connected to the other one right in front of the pineal gland. I'm just blanking out. I'm sorry about that, you guys. I got hit by a car in 2016, so I do blank out on words sometimes. The pituitary gland. So the fourth eye connects with the throat chakra and the pituitary gland, whereas the third eye is the pineal gland. But the empty well comes up here. The coal becomes the diamond in the space between, and suddenly there's an empty well to fill up, welling up, with time to replenish and sudden thirst, and the ears coming up regarding the fourth eye as well. And ears been coming up yesterday and today. The 19 of the sun, blinding the fallen angel, and the 62 of the 8 of swords, imprisoning to find the treasures in the shadows of release. Right? You can't experience the release unless you go to the shadows. Not being afraid to surrender, as the 41 of the Ace of Cups, the moon maiden, remember the feminine is the masculine and the feminine naturally, where the moon maiden is coming. I actually wrote the mood maiden, so maybe the maiden's moody right now. The Holy Grail is holding up the moon for new beginnings to happen. So the Holy Grail, which is a 0 point, God's rail, is holding up the Magdalene Jesus energy for new beginnings to happen. And then this is where I wrote down the energies about the meeting that Elena Denon had on October 30th, which also coincides with the 11th hour that I was getting. I was getting the 11 to the 11, or the 11th hour, and I was talking about 11 before 11:11. So which is coming up, right around Halloween right there. So that's synchronized with her having this meeting with the Confederation ship that came in and was at Jupiter. And you can watch her video if you want information about that. I also noticed a video came up on my feed from 60 Minutes, which I don't usually watch, but it came up about reversing stroke and perhaps Alzheimer's as well. And it's etanercept. It usually is given for arthritis, but it's an anti-inflammatory, so I just wanted to bring that up because it had an immediate response for some of them, and it doesn't work on everybody. I think 1 out of 5 may not work, and this was 7 years ago, so I don't know the work they've done since then. So maybe it's getting approved or something. And literally, they were showing a patient who literally could not talk at all, who literally gets the injection in her spine, and then all of a sudden, is her eyes open wide. She's like, oh my God, I see it's clearing. And all of a sudden she can talk, and the cloud clears from her brain, and she can tell the doctors exactly where it cleared. So that was a very important thing, because then the patient who couldn't communicate before now can communicate how the whole process works. So after I watched the Elena video, which another number came up, because remember when I said that Sam's channeling said that that Enki brought in the humans 450,000 years ago. Cryon said that they were seeded by Enki 200,000 years ago, but the humans had been on the planet much longer than that. not as humans as you know humans, right? So they didn't have that human DNA yet. So they were already on Earth through Creator, and then Enki seeded them according to Cryon at 200,000 years, but they weren't ready to do Lemuria until 50,000 years ago. So now Elena quoted 372,000 years of misdeeds of Enlil before Christ. So there's a third energy, but they're all coming up between, and that doesn't mean the humans were seated yet at 372,000 years, but the misdeeds not only of here, but other places as well. I think it was other places as well. So after I watched that, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is coming up again. And here, though, because another name for Enki is me. There's lots of names for Enki. EA and AE are Enki. 40. I gave you some of the other names the other day. So, of course, Anu is the father. And Eos is another name. His birth name, apparently. But he's also known as me. And Lil's name was you at birth, which is really funny. So, Enki is me, and Lil is you. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do came up because of me. Enki is me, and Anu is Ra. So we have do of the dear one, Ra as Anu, me as Enki, and then I brought up fa, sol, la the other day or last week, and then sol, la, ti when it came up last time. And fa, sol, la means seeds. And then Ti is the key of the chakra system. How cool is that? And then Solati is emotional compensation. So we were just compensated for the wrongs that Enlil did. So Elena of Ra and me, or Re and me, regarding the seeds, or the fatherland, the homeland, the joint land of karmic compensation. The father passes between the mountains or gap, alone, solo, or the only one woman, representing Elena here. The father to blame, Ki, which is Enki. The father to blame, to lock, to suffer, or perhaps telling Enki to suntan, which is really funny, them making a joke with me here because he came up as being much lighter than Enlil. But the father to blame Enki, being suspect or criticizing him. And again, that father-son energy of Enlil and Nunanta, or Ninorta, U-R-T-A, where Enlil was you, obviously not spelled Y-O-U, and also named Lindek. Because some of them are titles, like Enlil and Enki are titles, whereas the others are names according to what Elena was talking about. So, and I was very much getting to here, who let the dogs out? And this is about Anu basically saying, like, who let the dogs out anyway? Who let my two boys out? And then Dora was coming up as well as do, re. So all of those words were used, the combinations of words, to get the message that came out to you just now. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti is the Golden Gate branch of the six, the spiral, which is also the father, the homeland, the soul being alone in the swamp or the field, the one who suffered or endured, was beaten or barked or shouted out the window, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore. The side or the spaces, or expansive and broad. And again, the mountain, all the definitions of the different words coming up here. So copper was coming up here, as well as the shoulder, which I always talk about the twins standing on Orion's shoulder, and copper being more like third place as opposed to gold. And the train was coming up more as the subway in the definition here, right? Being subpar, as in Enlil being arrested. The Golden Gate branch of Ra and me, or Re and me. the underground branch of copper, not gold, but number 3, the thorn in your side. The family jointly to blame for Enlil and son and their time in the sun. To lock up back to the swamp, Ray and me have shouldered the burden long enough. They can bark all they want, but who let the dogs out in the first place? The Golden Gate subway is very lively here for the seeds compensation, which is so weird because I bought an indoor seeding thing for plants and I planted the seeds yesterday. So that's really cool that came up. At the Golden Gate of Anu's family and the Anunnaki makes joint restitution a promise to the field or the Empress, Mother Nature. The golden sun and fish were blamed for the acts of the swamplands, the Golden Gate subway, or the copper branch of the family, homeland, joint, or articulation, to promise, lock, and suffer in the swamp. The seeds rescue compensation here, or they receive compensation. So it was really cool how that all came together. So that was just the first one, okay? Then we have the second one's not as long, I promise. So it is 1:15 on the clock, or actually almost 1:16. And this was done on the 4th. And it was my birth time right before I started this message. It started with the journey of love at 11:50, Metatron 11:51, Nature's Whispers 52, and Shaman Dreams 53. And here is the second read. Did I show you the wrong one? Where's the other one? There it is. Okay. So here's read number 2. Same exact format. 3 cards out each. Underlying energies on the left, and then the cards I had to count on the right. And the 3 cards between, decks in the same order as the first deck. And that's at 1:16:30, around there. Okay. So the movie that came up here was Man on the Ledge. Okay, so there's that energy. And I started watching that movie at 10:08, which is that energy of the 8th and 10th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the High. And then I finished watching at 11:44, which is my soul number is 3811 and my life lesson number is 44. So representing the divine feminine. And 18 is my birthday as well. And I just told you my birth time is 11:45 right before I started this. So there's very much that everything's coming together. So the 4 decks piles came up 4, 2, 0, and 6, which is 42/6 is the 2 of Cups. The gematria that came up here was Stephen D'Soni, Buns Made War with Christ, which I guess is kind of funny. I don't know Stephen D'Soni, but I'm assuming they're very athletic and they have a nice butt. So 134 also came up here as December, along with 330 and 55. So there's that 3, 3, and 55 coming up again. And 156 also came up, which its first entry is Sophia with an F. The second entry was I am an alien. So we start this read with the Magic, Empress, and Emperor. And again, the 3 and the 4. The transition of the Emperor, the Magician in energetic exchange, or the arrows of love, with 2 of the Divine Feminine High Priestess. And the human embodiment of Source, Lovers, the magical freedom of love, family, and community. Where 21, in the underlying energy that she is the moon. And I told you I'd show you the picture of the toroidal field thing, but I guess it came up in this second read. Let's see here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss that for you. Because I didn't see it. No, it's going to come up. What I didn't show you was this stuff up here, which I do want to show you. So here again is that energy of the space that you share when you come together. Here is the infinity. This is the hourglass. These are the halves of the moon that come together like this, being the line. Remember, the line is not a line. It's 2 dots and a leap of faith. So there's the energy of the is it the F line? Oh, it's just an arrow. Okay. So again, the line between here is actually just 2 dots and the leap, but the circle is also not a circle, it's actually a spiral. So the leap can go from here to here, or it can go here to the next ring, right? Jumping multiple dimensions. The quantum leap between dimensions. The phi energy comes up as going to another density when I drew this. And again, bringing again the hourglass up, converting to sovereignty with space between, of Andromeda and Pegasus separated each in their sovereignty. So I don't know if the star that they share is supposed to die or have a supernova event of some kind or something like that. So, and again, capital N7 came up. So she is the moon, 21, which is completion and being whole. The 21 is also the feminine and the masculine. That she is the moon, the MO and the ON, the Magdalene and the Jesus. The 3 of creation and the 15 of catching your breath after doing the shadow work. The 16 of the tower and the sudden empty well, where MT also comes up, the Mountie. And that can be Canada coming up, but it's also the mountain. The sudden event of the empty well, or sudden thirst, sudden hunger. Being whole and complete, right? And ready for the next cycle of Mary Magdalene and Jesus and the Mother Creator. The shadow to catch your breath with sudden emptiness. Being demure, that she is the daughter core, the heart womb of the earth and the collective awakening, hugging the tree, home with sudden thirst to fill up again, to see from within. At 12:07 is the Hanging Man and the Chariot. The first card here is the 6 of the Angel of Jupiter Awaken, the lovers gliding along. The 16 of sudden heart of the moment, or a sudden longing of the 21 to complete and be whole. The realization that she is the moon, and I was just getting that she is the one. She is the MO and the ON for the man on the ledge. So, and also Enola Holmes 2 came up, that movie, which is the little sister of Holmes. So that could be coming up in somebody's family as well, a sister following, a younger sister following in their footsteps as an investigator. And in the movie, 27 Dances came up, the 27 of the Ace of Wands, at 12 before 12. I think that also came up there, and that was at 12:40. The Hanging Man and the 40 of Enki, the wisdom of Enki, or the Sweetheart, the Page of Cups. The rose line also coming up here, because the rose line is the line, which is not a line, which is 2 dots, or 2 places or vortexes or vortices, and the rose is the line that rose. It's the line that leaps, literally. So the rose line is the line that leaps off the page from the Earth's core to the moon via God's rail. Instead of the metro liner, it's called the quantum liner. The rolling stone, so here's where this develops again as the Star of Bethlehem. The rolling stone, which I've showed you this picture before, is the stars, the supernova. The rolling stone is the 3 and the E back to back, which makes the star in the middle, with the M and the W automatically being created when they come together, being all 4 directions of the rolling stone. Okay, so when the rolling stone comes together, as you see in my little scratch up here, the E and the 3 come together and make the star format here, right, where there's like a star in the middle, and then you have the toroidal field here, right, with the 0-point field in the middle, that quantum leap with the line across, which is naturally made by the 3 and the E. And then when you put 3 and the E the other way, they become the 8, and we get, this is the toroidal field, or the apple. This is just extended to show you either way. So the apple would be more this way, but this is showing you the infinity, and then the hourglass that's shared between you, which becomes this, and then so on. Okay. So it was coming up there as 3.5 of 8 cradled by 6 and 9, which I've brought that up several times too, where the 6 and 9 together become the pod of the 8. The 2 P's in the pod of the E meeting the 3, right? They come together in the same way. The E and the 3 become the 8, but the 6 and the 9 come together, 2 P's in the pod, each a half of each other. So they each trade a half of themselves in with the other. So at 12:08 is the Hanged Man and the 8 of the dance. The first card out of the 26 Page of Wands Guardian. And at that moment I was getting Teddy, our dog, the little one. The Mother, Daughter, and the Page of Wands, Dear One, the Lion's Heart, the happy little family. And Teddy, by the way, is Cancer, but he's very much a Leo too. The 45 of the Hidden Beauty, of Purging, and the 58 of your Beauty Rest, the purging and the meditating. Letting go of any regret, or just rest, and 5D connecting here. Unable to sleep, and the need for beauty rest. And 4 cards here, where 4 again is the building and the structure, the support, the stability of the Emperor. And then cards 1 and 3 came up. The Divine Masculine 8, the Yin Yang Lovers, bending over backwards, plus 3 more cards. A third, the 25 Knight of Wands, the Seed of the Heart, the Question Mark, the 23 of the King of Wands, Across the Waters. Remember we talked about the water heart, or the tears. She waiting in the chaos of the storm, dancing in and out of the vortex, awaiting the Christ flame to arrive, the dance of the Knight of Wands and the King of Wands amidst the crowds, inspired to love and seed the heart across the waters that nourish the seed, and heat it up with the flame to grow and flourish to nourish others, which is so funny because again it's referencing my new plant grower, which there's no dirt in it, it's only water. And I wrote new planter next to this actually too, and this was at 12:21. At 12:21, the underlying energy of the next deck is the 16 of the Tower, but it's the gold card of the Holy Grail and the Tower, right? The sudden epiphany from the Ancient One, the sudden gold, the Holy Grail, the rose line that leaps, the daughter's line, the hole at Y in the road on God's rail, the quantum liner. She is the moon, and back to the heart womb, the mother's gold, the Ancient One, where 24 is the orange omega of the Queen of Wands crowning herself in her third eye and putting her crown on, the home of the feminine ego, omega, the 1,000 sons of enlightenment. The forest veggie man connects with the man-woman, with ego, who is seated here, right? So the forest veggie man, who is like the, how he used to be, like the Sasquatch type of energy, and then becoming the seated humans, or the man and woman, connect, and attunement, which is coming up as at tune, that was meant, or at to any meant, or me ant people, which came up JP in Michael Sala's videos always talks about the ant people who were able to let them into the room, that only the Aztecs or the Mexican Indians were allowed in there because they were the only ones with the right vibration. The ant people to let you in the ark. I think that he was talking about the ark in underneath Florida. The 30 of union, for home and for union, was Silver Warrior of Light, where the silver man gate connects with the golden God gate, and the sword into the space between. And again, the sword coming up as that Star of Bethlehem. The sword and the stone, the word and the tone, the origin of one, from the moon to earth, or son and daughter to mother, all creation. So again, if the mother is the mother of the people, then she's the mother of the son and the daughter from within. He gives the directions from without. So the mother of all creation of 3, the flower of life and all her children in existence, and the Father at a distance. So at 1233 is the hanging man, 33, Christ that is, and talking about, screwing the coal to become a diamond and being nailed on the cross to become a savior, right? The 15 of the shadow for clarity, to go within after showering in the diamond light. The embodiment of source from all around, not just the tube into your crown. And the 50 of the 10 of cups, signs from birds and spirit with love. The 27 of the ace of wands, new passion, to leap, to breathe and lift your wings. That the bridge is always open to breathe the air and create ether with it. That's what you were seated here to do. The 2 cards of the divine feminine, 55 and 48. Of the truth of the red root shaman and how, finding peace in the void, walking away and within, to the symbol of the Om, the 30 with the crown on top, the home of the crown, of the throne that they sit in, or that God sits in, like home, and that was coming up with Sherlock Holmes, the investigator. The shaman's home, the rolling stone, which is the 3WEM, the 3, which is half of 8 when you push them together, cradled by the 6 and the 9, which becomes the pod, the 2 peas in a pod. The E and the 3 dancing the bookends, with the plus sign in the middle, the star, or 0 plus 0, 2 humans embodied by source, or each with 1/2 of the other. At 1251, the hanging man and the king of swords now, the man of light, of integrity, the underlying energy of the 6 in healing the root to flower the crown, the big picture of the 40 of the page of cups to show support to the birds and the flowers and the man in the canoe, the whispering bench, the 13 of the transition of the baby in a nook. And I was just getting what's his name? Not Noah, the baby in the basket. I'm just blanking out, but you know who I'm talking about. So, Moses, thank you. So the 13, transition of the baby in the nook, or Moses in the basket, the renewal of peace, of the page of cups and the page of swords, and the 15 of the shadow to catch your breath, right? The reset. Like causing the shadow to make you cry so that you can reset and be in that perfectly balanced place again. The 1 of the 26 page of wands, lion's heart, to be true to your lion's heart, and the 41 of the ace of cups in service to the little ones. The 49 of the 9 of cups of self-satisfaction to get your wish, and then 0 cards came out with that because we needed nothing after that. You're embodying source energy now. Direct connect, grounding, as opposed to grounding to the earth. Because the earth is all around you. It's all the same energy. At 1258 is the hanging man and the 58 of the 4 of swords, the underlying energy of the 41, the moon maiden and new beginnings. And the 25 of the knight of wands in the garden of Venus for rest and renewal. The 57 of the 3 of swords in separation of revelation, and the labyrinth of pressure, or discernment, of the path less followed, and the 16 of sudden thirst, and the empty well, where time to replenish with the holy grail to the garden for a cool, tall drink of water. And again, discernment, meant was coming up as me ant. So remember, that may be a message for somebody. So discernment. So again, discerning the difference between an artificial device and your abilities. They're trying to figure out how to do what you can do. So the website of the 12 revelations thing with the dragon, the cross from Orion, is the Heavens Declare, DECLARE.net, about the dragon. So you can look that up if you'd like that story. It's pretty cool, actually. So at 103 is the Magician and the 3 of the Empress, with space between, the first card of the 18. So again, the 18 is the 10 and the 8, the Hebrew letters of Chai. And the energy of life, right? The eyes of the eagle oracle that's decorated. The decorated eagle oracle. So get this, because this was just bringing us back to Michael Salla and JP. So all of this energy was definitely syncing with what Elena was saying. And again, if it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine, because that may not, you may need other information to do your mission the way you need to do it. So if you don't resonate with what I'm saying, that's fine. But Michael Salla's JP, who's his informant from the Army about the arcs down below, because he's been on them, here was coming up the 18 of the eyes of the eagle card, the decorated oracle eagle, and Michael Salla looks like the Muppet Eagle with his eyebrows. He's very sweet. He just reminds me of the eagle oracle. It's not a negative thing at all. It's a term of endearment. So the eyes of the decorated eagle oracle, and Michael Salla's JP, the oracle, his contact, having seen with his own eyes, and I'm getting Van Eyes with that, the 52 of the Queen of Swords, who's also the 44 of Hercules, the 52 of Lady Liberty straddling worlds, right, as on the island next to Ellis, that El is. The 42 of the Two of Cups, with a net caster whose preparations have now come to fruition, so the feminines finished their work. The 2 and the 6 sharing the 3 and the 7, or the Page of Wands and the King of Cups. In the net bridge, like walking across a net, you know, like on the helicopter pad on the top of the building, they have nets around. It's like walking across the net bridge, which you need to do very carefully, especially if the holes are kind of big, to the 8 of the 8 ball here, of the crown games. And remember, the 8 ball is a black ball. Somebody might be blackballed here. The crown games, which is right use of power, and the CG of the Christ God. The Queen of Swords said off with their heads, or their crowns at least, for right use of power. The 40 of the Page of Cups and the Sweetheart, or coming up as Anki today, with the think tank that Elena was just in, and the 37 of the Magician's Sword of Excalibur, and the 3 keys of alchemy, of unconditional love. The sword, the word, and the origin. The stone, the tone, and the one. The 4 to 7 sweet spot, of the heart to the crown, the sky bridge, of Sophia's KY bridge, God's rail, with the possibility for union. The 44 of Hercules, her harvest, and the perfect storm, 4 to 4, which is the 4th finger to the 4th chakra, your heart. The wedding ring, the high vibe 3D, to the 33 bridge, to the 22 5D station, to 11 manifestation. The 1160 manifestation instantly. The ravenous show off with eagle eye. Okay, so talking about Michael Salla and JP again. The raven, JP, peacock, Elena. So it's coming up as the 3 together, right? So the eagle is Michael. The raven is JP. And the peacock is Elena. From the eagle's perch, Michael Salla. And the 53 of the Knight of Swords, the curious stranger, with laser fingers and messages of truth. The universal Mercury, God's messenger, or Gabriel, God's braille, or the gab rail, right? The gossip vine. Heard it through the grapevine. As ether Mercury meets Eden vapor, to agents 3 and E instead of 99 and whatever. I think Get Smart was 67, but I forget. Or I forget what he was. Maybe 68. I can't remember which one it was. But the Mercury ether connects to the Eden vapor, right? So ether to vapor, Mercury to Eden, to agents 3 and E, and their tree of life, the 3E tree, the rolling stone, and the apple tree of the toroidal field, and the sword that runs through it, like the river through the mountain, the looking glass, what we used for mirrors before mirrors were in fashion, the word through the tone, the origin through the one. And so here is the picture again, which I've drawn many times before, but more in detail about what they're talking about today. So the rolling stone is the 3 and the E, which when you put them together makes the M and the W of the rolling stone. And it also creates that star energy between, which then shoots up. But now we plug the bottom of the apple, and then it becomes the sword and the stone, the diamond twins, the double diamond twins. And I was just getting double Dutch as well and jump rope. So there's the rolling stone, the sword, and the central sun. Because the donut, this is the apple from the side, but the toroidal field from the top looks like a donut, which is also the sun and the central sun. See how they all come together? So in the hands of the twins, on the shoulders of Orion, and Enki just coming in the face of the dragon's breath, Orion and the dragon, whose tail is the Pleiadians. The 144, and Spirit's connecting with me. So it's so cool how my stories, they're completing it for me. And this ends here at 144. And in that picture of the site that I just gave you, shows you the narrow gate and the wide gate. And where will she fall? Will she fall into the ego gate or into the high vibe ascended gate? Where Orion's twin stars of the sickle in this drawing are Castor and Pollux. And I don't know the stars of the other one, but it's the dragon twin stars that comes out of the dragon's mouth, which they don't call ether, but they call the wave of water, not the breath, to wash her away. But it's really the energy of the plasma ethers. The flood, and again, the energy of Noah's Ark, the flood to carry the woman away, it's 144 on the clock. And the flood to carry the woman away comes from Revelations 12:15, the hanging man and the devil. All right, so those two reads were really important, you guys. So I'm going to try to do some of the astrological reads too, but I'm going to give you the read on the table as well. And that's a pretty quick one. So yeah, yesterday I did Aries and Taurus, but they took it out of me. It was difficult yesterday, energies. And then so today we're on Gemini, Cancer. I was thinking I still have 5 more to do. Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra. I still have to do. As we go into, I don't know where the moon is right now. Well, yes, we do, because we have the full moon. It was the new moon in Scorpio, so it's the full moon in Taurus on the 8th, and so tomorrow is the 7th already. So we're going into the energy of Taurus. And I did Taurus yesterday. And by the way, yesterday, when I checked the mail, there was a white cat on my lawn that I'd taken a picture of before, where the white cat was meeting the other cat that was somewhat a black cat. And right after I saw the white cat on my lawn, I went back inside, and a few minutes later, I saw a speckled cat walk across my porch. So the cats are showing up here. And Teddy's digging a hole in the backyard, so I don't know what that's about too, because that could be a message for you guys too. And again, the energy of the eclipse in the Scorpio Taurus axis. And I just heard that Saturn also is important at play here, which is Capricorn. So you might want to look at your the houses that Scorpio and Taurus run in for you, and see how that affects you. What department of your life it affects, this eclipse. So for me, I think it's friends and associations, and then Scorpio's romance, my 5th house. So again, being the inner child, standing in the sovereignty of Leo, that was coming up too. Hold on one second. That was, I wanted to ask you guys something too in a second. Oh, it's 1:44 on the clock as I just turned my head, and now it's 1:4444. 4 4 is right there. It's 1:39 on the clock, which is the Magician and the Knight of Cups. I'm sorry, I blank out on people's names, not because I don't respect them, but because my brain kind of dumps stuff sometimes. But most of the time I'm fine. So I wanted to ask you if it would be helpful for any of you for me to make available at a very low price. Well, a couple different things. First of all, I've had sessions with many people over the past 7 years, so I can give you advice. You know, I could do like a 15-minute or half-hour session to give you advice on different readers and things like that. I've done many different kinds, past life regressions, healing stuff. I do my own healing, of course, as well. But if you want information about other people that you may be contemplating having a session with, I can give you an idea of what it was like. So there's a whole bunch of people in that respect. And I also have an alphabet of mine that I can type up if any of you are interested, and I could give you that for a small price as well. Might help you with decoding things like that. Because it's all an alphabet that I've created over the past 7 years as my channeling was coming in. So let's get into this read on the table now. And this one, like I said, is a pretty quick one here. So it shouldn't take too long. And was it this one? No. Give me 1 second because I took a lot of pictures today. So there's a lot of space between my reads there. Talking about space. Yeah. So here's the picture, the read on the table. Like I said, it's not 7 decks today. It looks like it's 4 decks. Okay. So the SIRIAN Starseed deck is that main deck on the table, the big cards. And this was done at 7:37 last night. 7 is the Chariot. 37 is the King of Cups, as we've been talking about for both of these reads. And I finished clarifying at 10 p.m. right on the dot. So triple zeros behind the 1 or double zeros backing up the 10 of Source Embodiment. We have Alchemy as the major arcana. Alchemy is the Temperance card, the Star, Reason, which is the Emperor, and Indigo, which is the Magician. Before the read was the Starseed or the Fool, and after the read, the Strength card, or it's literally jumping through the ring of fire, the white tiger or the Bengal tiger. And that represent the masculine here. So we have 1 pentacle, 3 wands, 1 sword, and 2 cups, along with the King of Wands and the King of Cups. And they both came up as reversed. I think it was Taurus's read yesterday on them, like on their placement here, that these 2 kings were ignoring them. They were both in reverse. So they're coming up here together again. The King of Swords comes up before the read, the King of Wands and King of Cups in the read, and after the read is the Page of Pentacles, which is that perpetual student, right? The code line was all about music and communication here, and the number was 5 and 1 equaling 6, and that can be the 51 of the King of Swords as well. The 5 of the Hierophant, the 1 of the Magician or the Divine Masculine, and the 6 of the Lovers or Love, Family, Community. The message about music and communication here, it's music, but even more so communication. The egg at the top dog, the sap or the essence of life, of 7 up was coming up as the Chariot ascending, or the key up. The key of the 5 of digamma, again, the 5th wheel of digamma, the 2 gamma rays, or the twin flames, the 5th wheel of the twin flames, right? Each with the masculine and feminine, and then the thorn in the side, or source energy, right? Throwing a wrench in your wheel, so to speak. The Ace of Swords, or the Truth, where we just talked about the Ace of Swords, support And the music also stands for the muse of the inner child. So it doesn't have to be music per se, but that creativity. And then the egg is also the 8 of the infinity symbol, the old woman, the wife, the girlfriend, the mother, the throw, which was also coming in. The grandmother of Ava was coming up, so that can be coming up as well. And Ava is the bookend of A, V is creation, and then A on the other end, where A, capital A for me, is the rocket. The lowercase a would be the human embodiment of source with connection, right? So the one having connection to the other, and the other having connection to the rest, right? So the 8 being the life essence, the infinity, the dance between the masculine and feminine, and then 75 came up, which is the 7 of Pentacles, and in the SIRIAN Starseed deck, for me, that's very much the Divine Feminine's heart in the E Tower, like Rapunzel. The Divine Feminine's heart is off in need of truth and support, perhaps, of music or the muse of the inner child. The old woman, perhaps an old woman 70s and up, which would be a grandmother, or perhaps the age of a grandmother, with the freedom to reflect the truth in support of the muse of the inner child, right? It's easy to be a grandparent because you don't have the responsibilities of the parent, and now you can share your wisdom with the grandchildren. The wife or girlfriend traveling on time out, and the freedom of facing the truth with the support of music or the muse of the inner children. That it's not time for the essence to go up to source yet, right? It's not time for you to give up. There's a marriage here of the twin flames, the truth of support in the muse of the inner child. And again, that includes music. The pine tree here comes up, which can represent the pineal gland. And I just started putting pine seeds in my juice because it's good for the eyes. It's got the eye stuff in it. The voice and the sound, and again, hearing has been coming up. So the voice and the sound, fire, and just to be, that life essence. And again, the energy of the 10 and the 8 of Chai. The 8, the egg, the honey, her, to her, water, and I, we, him, her, its. The voice or sound, the 7 being the key of we. Because remember, 7 is the chariot. The chariot is the feminine within the masculine. It is we. The 7 is the key, the freedom of facing the truth in supporting music or the muse of the inner child or the inner children, the feminine and the masculine. To be 75 off, perhaps. Maybe somebody's offering you a deal of 75% off. One of thoughts and words supporting a music, or may have a heavy cue, or greased with music, or helping you grease your music or the muse of the inner child to help you figure out what it is that you want to do. Again, the pole that supports the music, like the pole that's holding up the flags that I showed you, now having a space between them and being sovereign. And being able to help each other with space between, not being codependent anymore. Doesn't mean you have to have space between. It just means you're not attached to each other anymore. You are individuals choosing to stand side by side. The Ace of Pentacles upright, and beneath that is the Starseed reversed, the 8 of Pentacles upright, the King of Swords reversed, the 4 of Swords upright, and the 3 of Wands reversed. So perhaps knocked for a loop on that 737 jet airliner. I'm getting that song too. I can't think of the melody right now, but you know what I'm talking about. Knocked for a loop at work, lacking faith in work. If somebody knows the song I'm talking about, if you could put that in the comments, that would be great. The jet airliner, the song. Lacking faith in work here after being knocked for a loop. The King of Swords reversed, taking a break to look back at an offer perhaps, or how to start a new life. The Ace of Pentacles is upright with the Ace of Swords upright. So this is groundbreaking here. The diamond in the rough. To patient angel holding on. Grounding, integrating, and mastering, or the gym. Learning how to receive love, having ignored the arrows of love, falling for the X, or embarrassed in front of the X, or by the X. The groundbreaking truth presented to patient angel holding on, or the divine masculine's heart that had closed up. A message of love and the whole truth may have been too much to take in at the time, having lacked affection or tripped up by their ex. The Queen of Wands reversed no longer performing, and the King of Cups reversed doing all the work, but being strong or taming the beast or taking care of a pet or healing their head, or they're in over their head. Where the recent past is the Star upright with the King of Wands reversed, losing power, money, and independence, with the Emperor reversed, perhaps his death, or an ending or a split in partnerships, or dark night of the soul, or the end is not in their favor in a losing battle, with the High Priestess reversed, or secret passion moving to peace here. The foundation of alchemy, patience, and that higher love of the Page of Pentacles, or that eternal student offering their coin, which also means Kohan, or two Han Solos, independent ones, extending an invite to the devil, Capricorn, or temptation, King of Pentacles, who's happy with themselves without the Queen of Swords reversed, or someone who's verbally abusive, or giving them the silent treatment. And the Page of Pentacles is increasing their offer, perhaps, or making it seem bigger than it is to get their attention, or singing their own praises to get the devil's attention, or the King of Pentacles maybe snubbing them, or not in need of their pocket change, let alone having to deal with the Queen of Swords reverse and her backlash or vengeance in accepting such an offer. So the central energy here is the Five of Wands reversed in ending conflict by taking a rest or break to meditate with the Page of Cups upright and the Knight of Cups upright, out in the cold or left behind traumatized by the Empress who's unable to function, having gone through dark night of the soul, or going through something. She is upright here though, with issues at work with the wounded warrior on guard, defending their wounds, challenged by the truth that was always there below the surface at 1056, the high vibe destiny of the Two of Swords, knowing and keeping your energy clear. The Page of Wands, inspired to heal with dreams come true, and the Ten of Cups reversed, unhappy family, or an emotionally unfulfilled despite the justice that they received, and or a divorce. So at 1056 now, crowning is the King of Wands reversed and his world upside down, with the Knight of Swords rushing in with the truth or deliveries, exposing all and energized by their work aligning. An offer to Angel or Sagittarius or a higher love in a losing battle with the King of Wands reversed, challenged by the truth or Excalibur, that energy of the star. And soon here is the Emperor reversed on guard at work with issues with the Empress, unable to function. The wounded warrior coming clean to the Queen of Pentacles upright, the Divine Feminine's heart about the King of Swords reversed on the warpath and unstable, or moving or without a car or home, or the party is just over here, as the twin flames are the Knight of Wands reversed, defenseless to the 5 to 6 wands, or the energies, or the energy of the group attacking them or ganging up on them, as the Knight of Wands reversed is falling short, perhaps with a marriage, a religion, establishment, or Taurus, or player, part of the all-boys club. The Page of Swords stepping up to the plate now, watching the old ball game, or watching the World Series, perhaps, and maybe that's why their world is upside down. Or the message came in that made them sad, looking back, or something about the past. And around the twins, or how they're seen, is the Indigo upright with a diamond proposal, the Hermit with light, knowing and keeping it to themselves about coming together, or proposing as an offer that's just too good to refuse. The block being the Six of Cups upright, the innocent love, defenseless to sleepless nights and purging and stress and uncomfortable emotions. The Ace of Cups reversed, pushed to the limit, overwhelmed by healing and forgiveness. Of music, the muse of the inner child, and the 32 of the journey of the Fool with an open heart and a leap of faith, and even more so the communication of the 33, the Christ unity consciousness of the 4D bridge, and the King of Cups reversed, who's in over his head, perhaps detached from his emotions, or over emotional, or depressed, or drinking, or at night, or perhaps he's in over his head, or at night, or challenged by romance, receiving a passionate offer from a distance or from one in disconnect from them, with the Queen of Cups reversed announcing the inequity of imprisonment by their twin. And the Page of Pentacles upright, I was just seeing the dragon energy in an arrow. That was weird. The Page of Pentacles, that student energy, or an offer, an invite, perhaps of a sister, or suffering in silence, or an offer to go underground to find peace in visiting, moving, or without stability, with an unstable home. And again, that can be visit or a homecoming. Finding strength and birthing to the other side. So again, this could be an invite to go underground, to meld with each other until you're ready to come out. Birthing to the other side, with the Magician, Six of Cups upright, and the Seven of Cups upright, or the Magician manifesting the twin flame synchronicities, or loving kids with options, and post-war, hanging out in pain or in a painful ending. And this could be after a death or service, that kind of thing as well. The good news here coming in for the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, of success and or a good reputation. And that could be profits as well. At 11:16, which is justice, alignment, and sudden events, or sudden epiphany, a sexual exchange as well. As the Ace of Cups is a big offer of love to alchemize and blend, the need to rise above drama, and indigo propose dreams to come true to end conflict. At 11:17 of alignment and dreams, where the filly just lost the 6th game, the challenge being the truth, and the Emperor reversed being unreasonable, with the Six of Cups upright, and the King of Wands and King of Cups both reversed. With an opportunity to go underground and find peace with losing home, or unstable birth, or perhaps lost the series at home, or traveling to visit, in birthing through the Ring of Fire with a rebel yell. The King of Swords reversed, meditating on the past, healing in dreams, patience and balance, and losing a battle, challenged by truth and communication. And the King of Wands reversed, defenseless to the energies or group of the unreasonable Emperor reversed, who may be out of control or stepping down from power, with the indigo proposing the Six of Cups, kids, soulmate, or childhood friend, as the King of Cups reversed and the Page of Pentacles upright, an opportunity or invite to hide away and find peace together, moving through the Ring of Fire and birthing the new together at 11:25 of Justice and the Knight of Wands. At 1:10 to 1:11, I finished here, and that's when I got upset from the show I was watching about the fact that my father, would never meet my twin. And so I dealt my cards out, and it was a really sweet message from my twin, being funny and all that kind of stuff. So there's really sweet energy coming up there. And it reminded me of the beginning of my journey when I used to get like card stories. I'd go through the whole deck. It would be like a message from my twin giving me a story. So, yeah, some profound energies there. Let's see. What should we pull? We're at 2:03. There's that energy of the King of Wands, and the 2 and 3 with space between. Again, it's 21 on the clock. And 1:57 on the other clock of the Magician, or the Divine Masculine, and the Separation. So, I haven't read from the Journey of Love in a while, so I'll pull you a Journey of Love card. And why did Hitler come up? So when I told you this before, years ago when I did one of my first past life regressions, they came up all together to show me they're all as one, and it was Jesus, it was Hitler, it was John Lennon, and Abe Lincoln were all standing together. It's like standing with the enemy, right? The one who betrayed you. And this is your mission, your journey is to rise above the worst kind of betrayals, to love, to show others it can be done. And this is coming up, essential awakening of the 10 of Swords. The 10 of Swords of bliss, of the pain and the swords coming out of your back. It's essential awakening. With the 38, the Queen of Cups and the pearl threaded, that she is the pearl ready to come out of the shell. All of them connected by one thread at the same moment. And there's that energy of the bliss of all the twins coming in union like a domino effect. And there's heaven. And there's the projection of the Pleiadians and the meeting that we talked about. So the Pleiadians were at the meeting, I believe, that Elena was talking about with the Confederation ship. But I also keep getting that message of the twins, the angels being at the Statue of Liberty, meeting the Pleiadian ship. And it keeps coming in as a stage at the 9/11 memorial, pushing up from below, where they project in to introduce themselves. So again, this is heaven though. This is the end of this deck. The 70 is the 2 of Pentacles performing together. And you see they're all in twos. Okay? So the end of pain and sensual awakening of the Queen of Cups, that Mary Magdalene energy coming together to perform. I'm in heaven. And I'm also getting Made in Heaven, the movie. If you haven't watched Made in Heaven, it's an old movie, but it's great for twin flames. So you might want to watch that. But let's read to you what it wants to say. I want to read Heaven first. And that always reminds me of the Green Mile. So they're paralleling your journey to the Green Mile. So 7 is heaven, right? Because what's the last step before heaven? You are meant to live heaven, now, not later, sometime after you die. What use is this life and body if not to live heaven now? Look for the mad divine genius. What did I want to say? I want to say Guinness? Look for the mad divine genius, or genies, or Guinness, but it's genius in all that is, especially the puzzling parts of your life that make you scratch your head, or tear at your hair, or scrunch up your face and scream with frustration. Those are the places in which the divine is saying, here heaven is hiding. Let's unveil it together. Let me show you, let me unveil your own mad divine genius right here. Look for heaven even in hiding. It will not withhold itself from you for long, beloved. It wants to be known by you. This oracle brings you a special message. The enlightener is calling you to more, to more, to more. More divinity, more love, more acceptance, more embrace of life itself. There's no limit in what is being offered to you from the divine lover calling to you, the beloved. Rejoice and know that the dance of love between you and the divine is the removing of veils of illusion one at a time, taking the swords out of your back one at a time, until you behold each other, naked and true, finally to discover you are each other, that you are love. And the poem reads, the sky ablaze with morning light, on silver wings of birds in flight. In gratitude, a tear released, which all those things came up today with the water in the heart and the silver man gate of the birds in flight now, and a knowingness embraced at peace. She speaks to those that gaze below, ancestral wings which call my soul to open hearts and soar above. In all the winds await this love. Okay, so that's ultimately the message for you. But I do want to read your sensual awakening as well, because that's 64. That's not far before that. I'm not going to read you the 38 because I've read that, the pearl threaded, many times. But the 64 of the sensual awakening is within the sacred temple of your body. Your soul experiences the vast buffet of life made manifest. Your sensuality is a way for your soul to express appreciation, pleasure, and joy. Your sensuality is much like your creative energy. It needs to be expressed regularly, otherwise it can become muffled under a fuzz of too much thinking. You're being called to experience your sensual nature again. You are beautiful and vivid, striking and appealing, Allow your sensual appreciation for yourself and others to flow and enjoy this unique experience of being a soul awakened or awakening in a body awakening. It's all love. This oracle brings you guidance that your sensual nature needs to play, and it doesn't require an external lover to do so, though that is one way, of course. It can be expressed through massage, creating art, spending time in nature, again, the muse of the inner child, swimming, dancing mindfully, feeling the sun or air on your skin, drinking aromatic tea or taking a bath. Play with what feels good for you and enjoy the indulgence. It will bring you renewed energy, and apart from that, it's fun. I dare not touch my heart's desire that sings a melody so still, and lights within a yearning fire a void that you alone can fill. I cannot say how my heart aches, nor speak the words as embers burn. Such blessings come to those who wait, a love that asks not in return. An open soul a risk must bear, to love without restrictions held, to reach another level rare, where two embraced as one are meld. To taste surrender's nectar sweet, by piercing through the veil so thin, and bathe in joy as tears release, a promised dance begins again. And this is 2 pages before 144, 1 page actually. This is 142 that I finished reading on, and the space between is 143, the breaking of the 65, the King of Pentacles, and the following page is the 144, which is the message of love, that love is a special closeness that sings from the heart, that warms my days and nights, that feels good, that makes me smile, that makes me glad to be alive. And then the next page is coming together. So there you go. That's the King and Queen of Pentacles. And then Heaven is down the road there. So between the King and Queen, of course, goes on with the Pentacles. We have the King and the Queen, and then the Knight, which is the Swan, the 67. The 68 is dropping into your heart as Mercury, and the 69 of the Ace of Pentacles of contemplation of that new life into 7 of Heaven, the 70. Okay. Remember your water. I know I'm a nag, but I forget. So I'm telling you, you don't have to listen to me if you don't want. Remember your water, your rest as best you can. I didn't sleep at all last night, which is fine. At least today's Sunday, right? Remember your joy in your nature, to commune with nature. Get your feet out there in the grass. We've had some beautiful, beautiful weather. And as always, follow your knowing, your knowing. Don't let anyone tell you what your truth is. Only you're the one who knows that. So rise and be love and rise. Remember, it's always in the eyes. The eyes have it. The I ams. I'll see you guys soon. Have an amazing day. Rise and be love. Bye.